Last year, I saw a video on automating the Google Play Store to release the same slot machine games with different themes.
With over 200,000 downloads across those games.
It was an amazing watch, and if you create mobile games, it's definitely something you should look at. In fact, it actually funded itself in the end and kind of ruined the structure of Google Play. This is Taylor trying to automate game dev, YouTube, and of course, cartoons. I started with automating games. Firstly, I didn't want to really be associated with this project if you guys somehow found out it was me, but now I don't care too much, it was a year ago. The game was really simple. You move around, you plant bombs, and you try to kill other players. The bombs of course push other bombs into other players, and there you got that sort of going for you. Probably thinking, did I hear other players? Yes you did. This was multiplayer, and as silly as I think it is to create a multiplayer game automated, there was a somewhat clever reason. I can, so I did. This worked really well because each game I make only ever changes the look of the game. So if the gameplay remains the same, we can make it share the same networking. So anyone who plays game 1 can see players from game 17, but each believe that the other is from their version. It's somewhat clever, and I've never really seen it done before. I've never seen 50 games share the same player base. Anyway, that may be useful information to somebody out there. Back onto the automation part. Once the gameplay was finished, I created a rewarded ad system so you can get more lives by watching an advertisement. Because here at Taylor Games, we need that money. Then I made an editor extension that created the look and feel. Now there was a folder of sprites labeled for backgrounds, players, bombs, and collectibles. Creating the players basically used image manipulation to place eyes above a base sprite, so I could put eyes onto pretty much anything. Now there was a handful of different eyes to choose from, as well as their base. Similarly, the background tiles randomized 2 tiles from a Minecraft texture pack, mixed them together, and placed it as a tileable floor for the players to move around. Finally, I didn't think of anything creative for the bombs and collectibles, so they just got picked randomly from a collection of sprites. Now we had a machination of sprites to work with, and they automatically applied themselves to the game, and it's somewhat different. However, not different enough to justify a release, because let's be honest, you'll get repeats after about 50 games, and who would remember what you made after 50 games? So we basically just need a way to change the look, and initially I tried randomizing colors. This didn't work that well because colors don't go well together when they're all randomized, so I decided to steal some color palettes from a website, automatically apply them to the UI and backgrounds and stuff, and then finished a somewhat justifiable different game every single time. Then I go to upload it to Google Play, and what do you know, they've basically prevented people multiple uploading by creating week-long waits until something gets released. So I only ended up uploading 3 to Google Play Store, and of course it's been a year since I uploaded them. I've let it simmer, I've let it brew, and I went back to check the stats. 1 download. Oof. And it was me. I think it's time to play some of that sad violin music. It was a lot of work to get it onto the store in the first place, and of course they did notice at some points that the games were too similar, so I couldn't automate the images used for it, like the icons. It just didn't work. So I don't have 50,000 games to show you because I can't upload those games anywhere. My automation days were not over. In fact, a couple of months ago, I found some Reddit videos where they got the robot voice to read the Reddit comments.
What are some tips about fighting you could give someone who's
Now,
never
of course,
been in a
you guys have probably heard of these. They're annoying, they're everywhere, but after one video, I thought it would be incredibly easy to have a program that does this for you. So I got to work. Firstly, using Windows Forms and Visual Studio, I created some UI to navigate Reddit. For this, I used a NuGet package for Reddit to display every top post for the day. Then I would scroll through and choose the best sounding post. Afterward, I created a new window for the post itself so you can read the comments if you want. Choose how many comments to read, choose the voice, press render. And that's it, a video will be rendered. So this worked using FFmpeg to render out videos and of course an image manipulation package I somehow found called Dynamic Image. This creates the image format that displays the text for the comment over the background. Then FFmpeg adds frames along with the voice to create a video file, then finally I can select a transitional video to go between each comment. Now I did not stop there because I got sick of creating thumbnails, so using the dynamic image package I made it create thumbnails automatically using preset PNGs and text along with the background. This was actually really fun to make, and some of the videos can be found on my throwaway YouTube account called Avocado Bro. And that's basically it. This was a month ago and the results aren't too dissimilar to the game's results. They basically got no views, but there is a small amount of traction that happened with some maxing out at about 20 views, which is not bad considering the work it took to make them.
Watching the content are people who put it on in the background while they're doing something else. It's kind of like when you're watching Netflix and then you're doing something else on your computer.
Also, after all of this, I realized that people have already made these programs before, which was a little bit soul-crushing, but I guess never mind, we'll move on. So there was one more style I wanted to automate, and this of course hits a little bit closer to home. You may have seen it on the Ask Reddit bot. Cartoon Creator. I tried so hard to get frame-by-frame image manipulation automated with Windows Forms. Unfortunately, every avenue I tried just died somehow or led to a very complex structure. The idea was that you could control a character in the software and speak into the mic at the same time. The character performed movements and lip sync to the user. It was actually inspired by a Black Mirror episode. I forgot the title, but it's got this big blue bear guy. I made some doodles, I separated the components I wanted to move and tried to get the lip sync to work. Unfortunately, I was unable to find anything free that could understand phonemes, whatever those were. Which is basically O faces on the O sounds, E faces on the E sounds, that type of stuff. So I got a bit lazy with this one and just used the volume to switch between 4 mouth types. But again, display and rendering on Windows Form just wouldn't work the way I wanted it to. I had almost forgotten about Unity at this point, having worked purely in Visual Studio recently, but it hits me that Unity could totally do this really quickly. In fact, there are several examples of games that already do this, including VRChat. Once I imported all the scripts into Unity, it took less than a day to rig it all up. I just needed to use the animation component that was already there for body movements and generally treat it as a game character. And then of course layer the background and foreground with some Teddy Game specific items and it's done. Yep, it's done.
Hey, what's up guys? So I can press Q to blink. I can also press change directions. So if you were thinking that maybe, Teddy's gone a little bit nuts and stuff like that, he's making cartoons now, what the hell's going on, then you'd be right. I'm crazy.
Thus ends my automation experience over the last year, I guess, for the 3 projects that actually used it. I'm not going to go ahead and say that these are anything too mind-blowing, but hopefully it inspires people because they are really fun to make. But that's pretty much it. Tater's adventures in the automation world. To summarize the results, I would say that people can tell the love and passion that goes into the content you produce. Be it games or videos or music or anything really, I don't think people should be automating these creative works because it is essentially just soulless data. However, I can respect the amount of passion that goes into the automation software. I love the idea of automating everything as an achievement rather than actual using it every day, you know? I think I've learned more about other elements of programming rather than just object orientation or game dev methods, and I hope that you found something interesting about them too. If there are one of these projects that you have a particular interest on, the comment section is really good, and I may end up making a video about it because learning a lot of the image and video manipulation stuff is actually incredibly handy if I ever decide to make an editor on my own. No more Premiere or Photoshop, it would be Tater's Cinema and Tater Shop. Anyway, I hope this has inspired you to make your own stuff. I just want to thank some of the people over the last couple of months that really do help, which is Brian Hoovy Man Hoovler, That's Madman10K, Mark Bergman, Mia Pierce, Tom Roman, and Avi Schiffman. Thanks for your support, and thank you for watching.